Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years.
So get ready! I mean, get ready! Are you ready for some football?
You are listening to The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. A weekly podcast about sports since 2011. With a focus on football. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. I am one of your hosts, Joe Mays, but I am not alone this evening. I'm joined not only by my co-host, Justin Raffoff, but also a special guest, his son, Austin, joining us because he's celebrating his 12th birthday today. So happy birthday, Austin.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, today's
I'm excited to be on the show.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, Austin. I don't know. We had you on as a guest in the past. You appeared in the background,
right?
I
You and
believe.
Natalie were here when you were ripping cards once, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we were.
That was a
back
few
at-
years
yeah,
ago.
That was a few years ago. Yeah, that was a while ago, and you weren't technically a guest. You weren't answering
you were just
questions.
kinda like here.
You weren't leading discussion. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
present, but not in a guest capacity. So it's good to have you on the show here.
He's pretty much been asking since that, like since the ride home that night.
Well, it's nice to
Pretty
finally make it happen. Actually, your dad and I have been talking about this probably since the beginning of this year. We were looking over dates and what's going to happen in the future, and I was like, oh, we have a Sunday is Austin's birthday.
Yeah.
Do we want to have a show that night? If so, do we want to maybe ask if he wants to come on? So here you are, and I hear you've got a lot of sports stuff you could talk to us about. So
Yeah, all right.
we're going to dive into that. So is there something you wanted to start with first?
Maybe we could start talking about the start of the MLB season.
Okay,
The first
so-
few weeks.
So you want
stuff.
to start with the bad first.
Rip that Band-Aid off.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I don't know that everyone that's watching knows for sure. So we'll let you introduce and say. Let's start all your sports interests in terms of teams because they may
So,
not
like, who are
mirror.
the teams you root for, which is a little different than the teams that like I root for. There's a lot of crossover, but it's not exactly the same.
So let's save baseball for last because we'll move into that.
Right.
So I think people might know if they've been listening to the show long enough, they know your NFL fandom. But who's your favorite NFL team?
I like the Cincinnati Bengals.
And you're a big Joe Burrow fan.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
What was it about the Bengals that got you hooked on them at a young age?
So when I was a lot younger, I was into tigers and big cats. And I liked LSU at the time that Joe Burrow was playing, and I happened to really like Joe Burrow playing there. Then he got the first pick, and he got drafted to another Tiger team, and I.
So is that when
Started.
your Bengals fandom started, or were you
Yeah.
already? So
Yeah.
the Joe Burrow
2020
selection,
draft.
2020
Yeah.
draft. Yeah, well, Justin and I were just talking about that.
Now he was only 6.
6, yeah.
And so like I was trying to explain to him, listen, man, you're picking a team.
Doesn't have a
I
great
know
history.
Joe Burrow's going there, but this could be a wild ride. Buckle up. And
1 year later, they make the
Well,
Super Bowl. and
but at
break
the same
the barrier.
time, right? Okay, you're on that bandwagon now. That's fine. And then they got really good. And there's Bengals fans everywhere, but the Bengals were relevant. You and I completely understand. There's a long time where like,
Yep.
honestly, Austin, like before you being a Bengals fan, I could probably count the Bengals fans I know on one hand.
I honestly,
Like-
do I know another Bengals fan? I don't know.
I-
Maybe I. If you know a few, maybe I do. I don't know.
Right.
Oh, Derek, right?
Oh, you're right, Derek.
Derek Reiniger. is
Remember
it?
Brooks?
Wilson?
No, Derek Reiniger.
Yeah, Derek Reiniger
Oh.
is Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Brooks.
Oh, Mr. Brooks
at
is?
school. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
big
I didn't-
sports guy.
Big sports guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yay,
he's
sports.
a Bengals fan. Like I said, but there's like a handful. Like that's it. So I was like, okay, if you're gonna get in, now's the time. And then they got
Yes,
really
start at the
good,
ground
and
floor,
so
right?
like, okay, but it's been a little bumpy since then.
Yeah. So actually, you know that the Dolphins are my one randomness from my sports identity because I'm obviously Penn State and then all the professional teams, Phillies, Flyers for sure, Sixers. If I'm watching NBA basketball, it's going to be the Sixers. It's just I wasn't an Eagles fan, and that can be blamed partially, obviously, on my dad because he wasn't a Eagles fan, so I didn't grab onto that. So I either was going to become a Cowboys fan like him, probably, or I'd have to find my own team. And I found the Dolphins, probably similar reasons that you. I loved Dolphins, the animals. I loved their colors, and I really liked watching Dan Marino. So it kind of just all came together for me when I was about probably your age that you started like the Bengals. Like I was like 6, and all of a sudden like, yeah, this is cool. I like this. I think I saw a poster of Dan Marino on my cousin's bedroom wall, and that was one of the main things that brought me in. And I've been a Dolphins fan my whole life. However, growing up, Dolphins were my number one always. I always rooted for them, but I kind of also grabbed a few other teams, and you would think it would be because they were better than Miami that I wanted to root for them, but Miami was pretty decent when I was younger. They didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but they were very, very good for many, many years. But I also really, really liked the Cincinnati Bengals, mostly because I thought their uniforms and helmets were awesome. I thought they were the best. And
Better now.
I bought I used to buy jerseys all the time at Boscov's when it was down where Lidl is, and they were very, very inexpensive when we were growing up, like $30 to $40, and I had Kajana Carter jersey, which Justin and I a few episodes ago, I guess probably about a year ago, remembered that yes, Kajana Carter was drafted number 1 overall by the Cincinnati Bengals. So yeah, the Bengals were a team that I was always really interested in. Actually, my parents got me 2 of those like little kid football uniforms when you were growing up. You could get the helmet, the jersey, the pants. I came with like replica pads and everything. I had the Dolphins one and the Bengals one. So familiar with the Bengals fandom. Yeah,
I have like a Steelers and Eagles one
Yeah,
downstairs
he
in
had
my
a Steelers
grandparents'
one and an Eagles
basement.
one, and like, see, that's the thing. Like the Bengals, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Mom wasn't so much on board.
Yeah,
with
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one probably hurts a little bit for.
Especially with me being a Navy fan,
Right,
too.
exactly.
That-
You run into that too.
So I knew I liked you, Austin. So that's football.
That's football.
How about do you follow NBA basketball?
Not as much as like football and baseball and stuff, but it's up there. And Sixers.
You're a Sixers
more
fan.
local. I grew up,
Yeah.
growing up watching them.
You've
would
been
say
to a
that, but-
Sixers game, right?
I've been to
Yeah,
a Sixers
I would
game.
also
Yeah,
say
Sixers Mavs.
he's kind of like, I don't know what I would expect a lot of kids his age. Like he would root for the Sixers, but like he also follows players in the
Okay.
NBA. I feel like that
I
is
follow Luka Doncic.
I was
Right,
just gonna say.
yeah.
You
So
see-
I used to be
feel
a
like-
Mavericks
yeah.
fan, and now.
So now you're a Lakers fan. That's
What if I was a
tough.
Lakers fan? Everybody would call me a bandwagonist.
You're right. It's one of those teams that gets it's
Uh-huh.
Yankees, Lakers. Those are the big ones. Cowboys or Packers. I feel
Chiefs,
like 49. Well,
up
Chiefs
there.
now. Yeah, Chiefs more recently, but
Ew.
yeah, there's some interesting people that
Yeah.
that I know that have very curious fandoms when it comes to that. Yeah, they're unique with the selective teams. I'm an outlier because my Dolphins fandom, but I got everything else is local.
right.
There's some
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
have no local, like it's all like jumping all over the place. Very interesting. Probably would be a great interview to figure out how they landed on those 4 or 5 teams, depending on how many sports we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so you're Sixers, but you're kind of like you pick the team, you pick the Sixers, but if there was an opportunity to cheer for a player, you would latch on to
Yeah.
that. Is there anyone else besides Luka that you like?
No.
He's like the one that
Not-
stands
yeah.
out. Okay, all right. How about hockey?
Hockey, Flyers.
Flyers. All right, that's good. That's
Same
good.
same thing, same concept.
Okay, who else in the NHL do you like to watch besides the Flyers? or player wise?
Probably the Avalanche and the Flyers aren't playing. 'Cause
Okay.
I got family members that like them. I got
Sure.
close friends that like them.
Yeah, the Avalanche were actually my Western Conference team when I was younger. I was living vicariously through them when they were winning the Stanley
Yes.
Cup and the Flyers weren't. Massive hatred for the Detroit Red Wings, which was the Avalanche main rival when we were going. Of course, the Red Wings are now in the East
Right.
with the Flyers, and they've been terrible for a long time, which makes me feel good. Any specific players come to mind when you think hockey?
If I think hockey, I think, maybe Sidney Crosby. It comes to mind. I don't like him, but you think hockey.
Yeah.
So-
That's who he thinks of when he thinks of hockey.
I get it.
But
Maybe,
like he's
maybe Cale McCarr.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I like
The
Avalanche player.
Hughes brothers.
That's yeah. See, outside of Olympics, I can get on McCarr. Like I like
Matthews.
Sure, yeah. Honestly, like him playing for the Maple Leafs, I think is terribly disappointing.
His name's Austin.
But it is. He spells it differently.
I was gonna
though.
say it's
Yeah.
T-O-N.
He's got the O in it, yeah. But the Crosby thing still. So like, I kind of had become numb to the Sidney Crosby experience because, well, one, the Flyers have been really bad for
Right.
a long time now. They haven't been good since the bubble playoff season back into 2020 that lingered into the fall of 2020, but they've kind of been almost irrelevant since before you were born, honestly, Austin. Back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, they had a couple good runs, a couple good teams. So, and then Crosby and company won what? They've won 3, I think, with him.
Yeah. They won 2 close together.
Yeah, they won back to back, I
Okay.
believe, and then they won another one
right, a few years
they,
later.
And I think they played in another one too and lost.
They did. They
right?
did lose. They did lose one.
Because that was when, wasn't it like one of the longtime Senators player was traded to the Red Wings and lost to the Penguins and then went to the Penguins and then lost to the Red Wings or something like that. This was back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. But yeah, so like Crosby got his.
Maybe
Pittsburgh celebrated.
Maybe Gretzky comes up to mind.
Yeah,
Another
well, that
good
one
player.
for sure, forever.
Yeah.
I just talked to your dad about how the craziest stat in all of sports is that if you take away all of Wayne Gretzky's, I think it's goals.
all of his goals.
He's still the all-time
All-time.
leader in points.
Right.
That's how many assists he
Well,
had.
and he came up in the Flyers game when Malkin scored. He is now, I think, 3rd in all-time goals against the Flyers. It might be in the playoffs, but it might just be in general. I didn't catch that part.
Yeah.
But he's 3rd behind Crosby and Gretzky.
Well, I'll finish.
Which Gretzky's interesting because, like, he was out west.
Well, yeah,
you
and-
know, but
I mean, he had the big playoff years with Edmonton, but didn't
Right.
get a lot
But
when
then,
he was
you
out
know,
with
he-
the
Yeah.
Kings.
with the Rangers towards the end.
We
There.
went to the Blues first, and then
Yeah,
the Rangers. Yeah. So just to finish my Crosby thought, so he had become kind of like whatever. Like it just was. The Flyers weren't good, so it didn't matter that I didn't let his antics bother me. But now, of course,
Yeah.
this happened, and I didn't get to watch any of the game yesterday because I was at Girl Scout camp with Natalie. So like I was following updates through the group chats and online and things like that. So I didn't get to see anything, but because of the Flyers fever that's going through, more and more stuff's coming up in my feed on Instagram. And I saw one, I think it was from like ESPN or someone was like top 10 moments in Philly, Pittsburgh, Flyers, Penguins, the rivalry. And one of them, and I completely forgot about this, but when I saw it, it made me so angry. Back near the end of like the Flyers being good, right before you were born, Austin, it was like 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. The Sidney Crosby antics of instigating stuff and then not being man enough to, someone would have to come to his defense. I'm like, that is not
Right.
hockey. That is not, he is such a little turd.
Yes.
He is such a little
Well-
turd. So I got super angry watching this stuff. And then all the comments are being like, were lambasting them because it was the Flyers announcers talking
Right,
about,
right.
well, it was Chris Therien
Right.
was absolutely eviscerating Crosby for his actions on the ice, and all the annoying Penguins fans were in the comments calling out Therien and saying how Philly fans are soft for like the stuff that he did. So do you remember this? A Flyers player was going down. I think it might have been Chemo Timonen
I think it was.
to pick up his glove, and Crosby batted it away. And then there was a fight broke out. Then later in the game, he has Scott Hartnell by like around the neck by the back and is just like pulling him down by the shirt. Of course, Hartnell doesn't like that and gets up and wants a piece of him. And immediately the Penguins just
Right, he
rush over
skates
and
away.
Crosby skates away.
Right, so he's like
That is the
starting
kind of
fights
stuff
but skates away.
that I
like,
can't. Like I just can't handle. So
Well, and it's funny because you said that because I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, the Flyers haven't been good enough for me to really keep that intensity. And at the same time, I'm like, maybe it's kind of like that Derek Jeter effect where like I'm not a fan, but like you kind of like respect it because it's just gone so long. But
No.
Jeter's different because it was the Yankees, and like
Yeah.
the Yankees played the Phillies in the World Series that one time. But other than that, like I just don't like the Yankees. But like they don't. It's not really a rivalry with
no.
the Phillies. Whereas the Penguins and Flyers is a rivalry.
yeah.
And then, like, in the game last night, now, this helped the Flyers. Like, when he's getting hit a little bit. And it wouldn't have been a penalty either way, but clearly the refs were just like, look, we've had enough of this. And they put them both in the penalty box right at the end. But, like, that helped. I mean, I know the Penguins scored in the 4-on-4 then at the end, but it helped. Like, you're telling me, we're going to take Sidney Crosby. They're trying to make up 2 goals in the last 2 minutes here. We're going to take Sidney Crosby off the ice for those 2 minutes.
Yep.
Deal. Like, and it's weird for a guy to lose his cool. Anybody, not just Crosby, for a veteran guy like that to lose his cool in that key moment. But I'll take it.
Glad he did. Yeah.
Couldn't
glad
happen
he
to a
did.
nicer guy.
All right, so that's hockey. So we did with Bengals, Sixers, Flyers. All right, let's get to baseball because that was the first one you wanted to talk about. So where do you sit in baseball fandom?
Baseball.
Who's your number one team?
Number 1 team, Phillies.
Yes.
They're local.
Because the rest of this, I don't think Uncle Joey's going to like. So, the interview may be over. You can go on.
No.
No, I'm teasing.
no,
Well, so
I
Phillies
know.
are number 1. So like
Right.
if anyone's playing the Phillies, you're rooting for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you say next really is not going to have that much impact. Because you have Phillies at number 1. So I mean, I guess if it would be another NL East team, that would be
No,
weird.
no,
but-
that would be bad. That wouldn't be allowed.
Okay, all right. Hit me. Who else do you like?
A bunch of you guys are probably going to criticize
Okay,
me for
Let
this.
us have it. Let us have it.
My number 2 team's the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh,
I
Okay.
told you. I put it out there.
okay. Yeah. All right. Now that's all comes screaming back to me. That's right. I did know that, but I had pushed it out of my memory. That's okay. So look,
Right.
time
And I
heals
can
all.
understand that from his perspective.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any association with it.
Right. Like we were younger than he is now
Right.
when the Blue Jays made us cry.
Right.
And
Now
so,
the
like,
Dodgers make me cry.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Twice.
I think that's.
And
goes
honestly,
for a
I
lot
feel
of
like that
people.
would have been a worse answer. And now, like at this point in time, I think that would have been a worse
No,
answer.
if I liked the Dodgers, I'd be sleeping on the couch outside.
No, I don't. See, here's the thing. The Dodgers, a bunch of the guys on the, maybe not now, but like the last few years, a bunch of
They're
guys
a
on the Dodgers,
powerhouse
like
of
I
expensive people.
like them individually.
Right.
Like I like Shohei.
Yeah.
Shohei's,
You know, I
yeah.
like seeing some of those. Like, it's been great. It's just when they all go together and keep winning. Oh yeah, that's annoying. But you know what else that reminds me of is that was the Yankees when we were
Right,
we were
when
kids.
we were growing up. Yeah.
When we were your age, the Yankees were in the middle of winning like 3 World Series in a row. I think.
I don't know. My dad's giving me a face palm, so I don't. He might not like that Blue Jays answer too. He might be
Yeah, I
upset
know.
about that. He certainly remembers. But like I think about like which is the best? Is it the Phillies or the Flyers angle? Like whoever they were beating or losing to in the playoffs in like the 70s and early 80s, like I don't have any memory of that, so I
Right,
don't have
right.
disdain for that
Right.
club. However, I hate the Detroit Red Wings because they beat the Flyers in
Right.
1997. I hate the Toronto Blue Jays
You
because
know who
they
else?
beat the Phillies in
hockey?
1993.
The Devils.
Well, let's not get started on the mid to late 90s and early 2000 New Jersey Devils. I also hate the Tampa Bay
Yeah,
Lightning because
yeah.
of 2004. Those will forever.
Well,
For the
for me-
longest time, I hated the San Diego Chargers.
For me, the Buccaneers.
Oh,
From
yeah.
the 2004 Buccaneers.
Oh man, I love those Bucks. Those Bucks teams were so good. Mike Allstott, baby, John Lynch,
Well, see, here's the thing. I work done. Had poster work done.
right?
Love.
Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson over the years, work done, right? Yeah, those were some good teams. Derek Brooks,
Old people.
Rondé Barber.
Rondé Barber, yeah, University of Virginia. Yeah, it's funny how that works, but
There was some Saturday to Sunday knowledge there.
That's
coming
right. Yeah. Well, we need that. We need that.
Yeah.
We're still doing it. Have you had Austin play that at all?
I
Oh,
think-
yeah.
he's
Yeah,
played
you
it,
see
yeah.
playing that? Yeah, it's
Playing
fun.
that now.
Shout out to Matt Ginter, Bulldog Hour guest,
Yeah.
Wilson grad, Penn State guy.
Creator of one of the best sports games ever.
There you go. You heard it here from our guest. So, all right. All right. So Phillies and Blue Jays are your top two. Does that the Blue Jays fandom obviously I know annoys the older Phillies fans? You know, your dad and your grandparents. How about Blue Jays fandom for your grandmother though, being an AL East team? How do you feel about Baltimore? I feel like you were just at an Orioles game.
I mean, I was just at an Orioles game. They're up there.
Did you wear your Blue Jays jersey?
Gosh.
I would have got kicked out of the park.
Did you get an Orioles hat or something?
I got an Orioles hat and one of the new City Connect
City
jersey
Connect,
shirts.
the green. Is it a
green,
green hat?
yeah.
Oh no, the hat
The
he
hat's
got
not
just
good.
a
I had
normal.
the
Oh, you got the
normal, like
normal.
split black and white.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got he had got what I might be my favorite hat of the Orioles. It's like the black with the white front panel.
Yeah.
And
And then the
like,
cartoon bird.
Cartoon head, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he got like the t-shirt like version
the City
of the
Connect
City
jersey.
Connect.
Yeah. The new one that says "Be More" on the front.
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
Is it cream and
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
green
it's
with
cream
the orange?
and green, and the letters are like green bricks. Like
Oh,
they have
okay.
like the lines through
For
it, like the
what,
masonry.
Utah? Is it Utah?
Utah Street.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
He got to see, and because we've talked about this a bunch, because he
plaque
gets
on
really
the side of the
into,
building in
into like the
Utah
home run
Street.
derby and stuff in the
Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
So he got to see the plaques out on Utah Street at the warehouse where Ken Griffey Jr.'s like home
Yes,
run hit
yeah.
and stuff like that.
So, were you on the bus trip when we went down? When my dad ran
To
one to
Baltimore?
Baltimore?
No.
You went to? Did you go to Washington?
Washington,
Okay.
I went to, yeah.
So we went down to Baltimore, and that was a cool thing to be able to walk around, see stuff. The Phillies ended up losing, I believe. Actually, they lost both bus trips. My dad, we lost at Washington, we lost at Baltimore, but that was cool to be able to see Oriole Park at Camden Yards and walk around.
Great one. Great one.
Yeah,
It's
very
a beautiful
hot. It was
ballpark.
very hot.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best out there for
Oh,
sure. So,
100%.
all right. Well, so where are you with the beginning of baseball season? How do you feel about? Well, how do you feel about ABS? Let's start there.
Oh, he wanted to talk
Oh
about
my
that.
god! Like
Do you like having automated balls and strikes?
I like it.
Okay,
There's a lot more challenges, but they take a lot quicker,
they're very fast. Yeah.
and people can stand in the batting box. Takes 2 seconds, and they get back in. It's a lot quicker.
I feel
It's
like
a lot better. It's just amazing how they track all that.
it is. And do you remember how many cameras it is that they have set up to?
I think it's
It's like 17 or something like that.
I
It's
thought
high
it was like 12 to
teens.
15.
I
But
thought
I
it was
could be
even-
wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was
could
more
be.
than
It
that.
could
Maybe
It's
be.
like
it
that
is, but-
Google program.
But
the
yeah, they have
Google
all those
stat
fixated
cloud
right
stuff.
there.
It's amazing that they're able to calculate that so quickly, so accurately, and I love it. I think it's great. I wonder if the time doesn't factor in a ton. If they'll give each team another one, like they'll say you can have 3.
Right.
I don't know that I would want them to go above 3, kind of like the timeouts in football where you
Right.
have 3 per half. I think, but I do like that if you get it right, you keep it. Like it's not you
Yes.
only get 2, win or lose.
Right.
You
right.
keep
Like
it.
I
So I
that
like
really
it.
I know it
Yeah.
takes longer in football, but that annoys me so much. Like you win 2 challenges, you get a third, but like you could win that one too. But like if the refs keep making bad calls, like
Yeah.
I should keep getting
Yes,
to correct their
right,
calls.
exactly. That's so I do like that. I honestly, I know we have our issues with Manfred. You especially
yeah,
have voiced them.
absolutely.
The changes he's made over the last 3 to 4 years, though, by and large, I think have only helped the game of baseball, at least MLB baseball, grow.
Yeah.
I think it's been great. I think you've been pulling in maybe fans that have lapsed in their fandom. I think you made casual fans into more hardcore fans, which I can just see that literally in my family alone.
Right.
Like Kelly never latched onto a sport much like she has baseball in the last few years, and I think it's because that it's been made a better product.
Yes.
On the field and in viewing experience.
Yeah.
And Manfred and his cronies have a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
We'll see if they ruin it all in,
I was
in
gonna
the
say,
next
if he can pull
9,
off
10 months. But
like getting through it without a labor stoppage, that would be a huge upset and hey, a huge feather in his cap.
all right, Austin, before we get all gloomy and talk about the Phillies, how do you feel about the Blue Jays here in 2026? Can they make it back to the World Series?
I think they have a shot. You got the 3-way tie in the AL East. The
Who-
Yankees losing 8 straight.
Right.
They're a
Almost
big
as bad
outlier
as the
there.
Mets, huh?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's keeping me afloat right now in the NL East is watching the Mets struggle more than the Phillies.
Right.
Surprisingly, shockingly.
Do the Phillies still have a winning record?
No, they
they're
have
8-12.
not for like over a week now because they have been terrible.
Last time I checked, they were like 7-6.
So who was your favorite Blue Jay player?
Probably Guerrero Jr.
Vladimir Guerrero junior
Mm-hmm.
Where were you at with Bichette before he left?
He was up there.
I feel like he was one that the younger kids really looked up to for a while. So I wasn't sure if you were
Obviously,
upset that
he got
left.
hurt, and he came back in World Series Game 7, hit the 2-run home run to start the game.
pretty big return. Much like Kyle Schwarber with the Cubs a decade ago.
Yeah.
Not the same situation, but
No,
similar.
but that was really cool.
So, being a Blue Jays and a Phillies fan, were you really upset to see Bichette leave the Blue Jays, be rumored to be signing with the Phillies to only go to the Mets?
That hurt. that was oof.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with you on that one. All right, well, let's dive into this Phillies.
Mets lost today in extra innings, by the way.
Good. So the Phillies are about to start 20 minutes. So right around when we're ending the show, they'll have just started. They are on, I saw someone say, every NBC channel except NBC. Every subsidiary of theirs you can watch it on, just not on NBC proper. So get those Peacock subscriptions ready. What are your thoughts on the Phillies in 2026 after the first 20 games?
If they can get their crap together and be a good team for the rest of the year, they may have a shot at the playoffs.
Do you think
Probably not getting to the World Series.
Do you think that's possible with how they're playing right now?
Honestly, 20 games in, you have 12 losses, and you're not playing the best teams. Probably not.
Yeah,
but
it's
they
been
have
rough.
a chance. They have a chance. They definitely have the team. They're just not showing it.
Look, if they could roll out a team that didn't have to hit, field, or pitch, they'd be okay. I think they could win.
If they only had to do one of those on any
given night,
they'd be all right. But
you just never know.
Even asking 2 seems like too much right now.
Yeah, they are. I think they're in trouble, and I know they've had slow starts and bad streaks in the many years since JT and Bryce in like the late 2010s when they tried to get this going, and then early 2020s when it really started to kick into gear. I know they've had issues. I mean, look, the year that they made the World Series, they were were they sub 500 in early June?
I think so.
So we know that there can be things that can be done to kickstart a team, to give a team new life. It just feels different to me this time.
Yep.
And I was the pessimist on this show a month ago when we talked about this, Justin. I still had them making the playoffs, but I had them regressing in the win total because they've gone up every year, I think, since well, honestly, it could probably go back even farther. They just weren't making the playoffs. But I think their win totals were increasing year over year from probably 2018, 2019 up till right now. Give or take, in the ballpark, close to that. But I wasn't sure despite the front office's, sneers, them running it back again with players advancing in age, more injuries, and having the same problems. I just wasn't sure how the Phillies were going to be better this year. And there were some moments in the first week to 10 days I was like, okay, this isn't so bad, but the last 10 days have been brutal. The last 10 days have been terrible. They've scored, 7 runs in 6 games or something ridiculous.
Absurd.
They've been shut out 3 times, scored 1 run yesterday, and that run came off at the first at-bat of a rookie that was just called up.
You're right.
And no one else could do anything.
He'd been a major leaguer for all of a few hours and hit a home run, and then no one else did anything else. And then you have your veteran, glue guy, Sosa, who I love, make an error that cost him 3 runs, and the pitching didn't give up an earned run yesterday, and they lost the game.
So
Tells you everything you need to know about the team right now.
yeah, it's just it's not great. It's unfortunate. I don't like this feeling.
It feels a lot worse than 8-12, though.
Yeah.
It
Like
does.
it feels a lot worse than
100%.
8-12. Like, and that's kind of where I'm like, look, this does not feel good. And like you said, it does feel a little different, but I am still kind of in, let's see where we're at Memorial Day. Because at the rate they're going, if they hit Memorial Day and they're still one of the worst teams in the league, then you know what?
right.
You got to look at selling off some pieces
Yeah,
probably.
if they're like 24-36
Right.
or whatever,
If-
I don't know exactly how that
If
would
they're
be.
still
Hanging around.
hanging around 500, then okay, because then like, hey, you never know, and these guys, you just need to make the playoffs. We've seen that with this team. Being the best team in the regular season hasn't necessarily.
Well,
equated.
they were what, an inning or two away of being kicked out of the wild card.
right.
Like it. So
Yeah, so like they just need to make the playoffs, and they're certainly good enough that they could. I do worry that if they don't turn things around soon, Thompson could be in some trouble. And I've said this to you, like it has the feeling in different ways, like not that it's all the same thing, but I could see them moving on from Thompson. Especially, I could see them moving on from Thompson, getting rid of Kevin Long, and letting Mattingly, who has experience, taking over as the head coach.
right.
I don't know that fixes anything. I don't necessarily think Thompson's to blame. I don't know that he's making it better, but I don't think he's to blame. The problem is, like where I was going is, you're going to have coaches who are then like, oh well, or not coaches, players, but like, it wasn't Topper's fault. Like we should have been playing better. Yes,
Right,
You're
exactly.
exactly right. And
Thank
it feels
you.
a lot like Penn State,
Thank you for
where
acknowledging
they're like,
that.
oh, we feel guilty because we got Franklin fired. Yes, you did.
You did.
Now, that's not to say that there's no blame or anything. Like, yes, some of that could be the positions the coaches are putting you in. That very well could be it. But, like,
It's
it
not,
just feels not good right now.
It's not on the coaches, at least not on the head coach, to hit the baseball.
No.
Like that is on the players. You can we can talk about Kevin Long too, sure,
Or
whatever.
even the fielding, though. Like,
But, right. I can't help you hit. I can't help you field. Now, the biggest thing I think is management of lineups and substitutions,
Yeah.
and especially the pitching stuff.
all fair.
You can put that on Thompson. You
Yeah.
can talk about that. But to me, right now, the biggest shock and surprise is the terrible defensive baseball, outside of maybe Garcia in right
Yeah.
field, who has been probably as advertised as they
Right.
said he would. I mean, I texted you when he threw out Horner at third
Yeah.
base the other night.
Yep.
Like, what a cannon!
yeah.
Like rivaling what Aaron Judge
Yeah.
did in
Right.
the World Baseball
Like when
Classic.
the Phillies landed Garcia, me and my buddies were like, "Oh, he's gonna be this great player on the Phillies. We're gonna have a lot of fun with him." And
You don't like him, or you do?
he's not good, but
Well, the problem is the hitting hasn't been coming for anyone,
No, right.
and including him, and that's their problem. Is outside of Schwarber when he's hot, or Harper when he's hot, because Harper had a terrible start, but now has been the guy, the only one
Right.
doing anything
Right.
up until I didn't get to see much of last night's game. So obviously I know that just Reyes
Right.
had the only home run, the only run, but Harper had been on fire
Right,
for
right.
over the last week to 10 days, but the rest of the team was doing nothing around him.
Right. Well, and that's the problem. Like I've said that to you. We have a team where we don't know who the cleanup hitter is. How ridiculous is it that a team with the payroll that the Phillies has doesn't know who the cleanup hitter is? That's absurd.
Right.
That's absurd.
And I know
And it's borderline malpractice. Like to not know who a cleanup hitter is.
I know people get up in arms about, because we talk, Justin, about we feel like that Schwarber should be given an opportunity there, and people get upset because that might mean that once every few games you're taking an at bat away from him.
Right.
You're not getting any production from the spot whatsoever,
Right.
because it clearly isn't Bohm. It doesn't seem to be Garcia.
I've already moved into Crawford should be leading off with Turner
yes.
second,
Yes.
Schwarber, Harper third, fourth, however you want to do it.
Right.
However you want to do it.
Yes.
But like that's,
I completely agree. And the decisions.
I'd even let you. I don't think it's
maybe
a
the
good
new
idea.
kid at fifth. if you really
right.
want to.
But like I would even be okay with if you wanted to go like Turner at 3 to have them, flipping, and keep Schwarber at 2. Like I don't want having Schwarber on base in front of Turner might not be great because like it's going to slow him down, But so I would keep them there and maybe have Schwarber bat 3rd and Harper 4th. Like but yeah. I'd understand you lose at bats. Yeah, but the at bats don't matter if you're not getting any production.
Right.
Getting no hits also lessens your at bats over the course of the season.
And it does. That it does, yeah. All right, so let's less doom and gloom. So let's move on. We actually have an email that we need to get to. So before we let Austin pick our next topic, let's get to the email. Which, of course, we know who that's from. It's 100% has to be from my Uncle Rich, from Pats fan Rich, now back in, I'm sure, sunny Massachusetts, no longer sunny Florida, back up where he belongs up north. And he did let me know that he was sending an email. I talked to him yesterday. So I think this has to do with our quarterback ratings from last week, Justin. So let's hear what he has to say.
Maybe after this, we could dive into like draft.
Okay.
Upcoming
Absolutely.
draft
Yeah,
and
yes,
maybe even the Bengals landing Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, I know that was on your list and on your mind. So I think that's where we will go after this. This will be a good segue into football talk because that's what Rich wants to talk about. So, all right, here he goes. Joe and Justin. Yes, Justin, you said I may have something to say from your last show, and I do. Starting with our easy schedule, once again, you have to beat who you are given. Would your Eagles ask for a stronger schedule? They played the Giants twice and a Daniels-less Washington team twice. Also, they beat the Raiders and Vikings. Something the Patriots couldn't do, beat the Raiders, right? Am I right? All right. We lost to the Raiders in the first game of the year, but we did have back-to-back 4-13 records to get this schedule. I'm glad he remembers that. Back-to-back 4-13, yes. Please continue to think about your Patriots going 4-13. I like it. So a new coach and an improved defense make for a much better team. Do we want to open up the Patriots coaching discussion?
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do that one right now. We still won the Eastern Division from the best
I don't have no
quarterback in the
problem with
league,
it.
as you have said. Next, you said we had an easy run getting to the Super Bowl. We beat the Chargers. Our defense had C.J. Stroud's number. Then you said we beat a backup quarterback. If you follow the Patriots, one of their sayings is next man up. So if Jarrett Stidham was not ready to play, whose fault was that? To make it fairer for your argument, maybe we could have Drake May play left-handed for one quarter. Drake was slightly injured in the Super Bowl and did play left-handed. Enough about your jealousy because my team made the Super Bowl. I agree with your best selection of Josh Allen. I agree with your elite selections. Your great selections are tougher to pick. I accept Stafford, Hurts, and Herbert. I love May and would not trade him for anyone, but Allen today. So he's only trade. The only person to get rid of Drake May for is Josh Allen.
That's fair.
But I can call him great. But can I call him great after 2 years? Maybe there should have been one more level for up-and-comers like May, Daniels, and Williams. The rest I can't argue with. Your favorite Patriots fan. So he honestly, I think, is okay with our ratings. He was more more upset about us trashing his Patriots like we like to do.
I absolutely understand the next man up mentality. If you remember my buddy Nick Foles, he was certainly fits that role of next man up. I'm kidding. Those were all valid points, Rich. And unlike college football, you are 100% correct. The Patriots don't pick their schedule. They don't pick who, there isn't some committee selecting who you get to play in the playoffs. So you beat the teams in front of you. I have to give you that. And I believe they did manhandle the Texans and make C.J. Stroud look bad, and I think that factored into
where we ranked
him.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right, and I think we agree on the for the most part on the Drake May. Like we both think he's very good. It's hard to place him higher than we would right now, and I think that's kind of what Rich is saying too. But we'll see. I mean, I know you and I, Joe, aren't necessarily rooting for him to shoot up that because that means he's doing well and so are the Patriots. But,
don't want that.
And no, I am okay with playing the Giants twice and Washington twice. And Dallas, we only ever have to play them twice because they never get it done in the playoffs to play. So There's that. I'm just going from getting hate mail from one
it
Mays
won't-
brother to the other.
See, it'll go from hate email to hate text
Yes,
messages
exactly.
that I'll have to deal with here. So, so thank you, Uncle Rich, for that email. Appreciate you taking the time to listen as always and get back to us to know that you were listening, which is always great. And we love to pick on you and the Patriots. Faithful up there.
Also
in New
taking the
England.
time to be a Patriots fan.
Not an easy thing to do, Austin. Not an easy thing to do. So, but he does it well. He does it well. So, last thing I want to put here quickly before we get to the last topic of the Bengals and the draft and things like that, I do want to officially announce here on the show, because we forgot to do it last week. I posted on social media, but our March Madness, the ESPN Tournament Challenge bracket winner, we had 60 brackets entered, and one came away at the top. No ties, but the winner is someone familiar to both of you. That would be Cheryl Raffoff,
Boo.
mom/grandma.
better watch out.
Getting booze here in the studio. So we will have to get her a show T-shirt and see if she'd like to join us on the show. I do get the chance to veto and approve topics. However, I will be just and fair in that. If she absolutely wants to talk about the Baltimore Ravens, I will acquiesce to that request, should she so choose. I am a fan of the new uniform, so I'm more than happy to talk about those. As long as
Are
you
they
don't
going
make,
back to the whites?
they
like
do
the
have
all whites?
they have a white one. They don't have a white helmet, but they have a nice white jersey. I really do like the new black helmet, and especially anytime you're bringing
I
in.
had the idea of a white helmet, like a
I
white
know.
shell,
Yes.
and then like the bee with the shield with the wings coming out of it.
I would like to see what they could do with the white helmet for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because I do really like the purple helmet that they debuted a few years ago, and I actually like the changes they made to it to now have their actual logo on it, which means they can wear it with more uniforms. It's not an alternate helmet anymore. It's just part of their identity. The alternate helmet is the new black one, so they can wear their regular helmet, the purple one, with any of their jerseys, any combinations of their jerseys. So it's going to be cool what they can do. So, yeah, so Cheryl, let us know if you'd like to come on the show, and we will try to set that up. But congratulations. And Colton, third place.
There we
Colton,
go.
third place
And
overall.
me probably close to last.
Yeah, where were you? Let's see if we can pull it up. So I was 15th, and Natalie was 26th. Haley was 44th. Andy Hofford coming in 4th. Brandon Doms in 5th. Brad and David rounding out the top 7. Brandon's other one came in 8th. My nephew Logan came in 9th. There's your mom, Jamie, coming in 10th. Another one from Andy. Jameson, a defending or a one-time champion, in here at 13th. Another one of Jamie's down here at 17th. I don't know. Where are we going? There's Rich down at 23rd. There's Austin, 25th. Tied or just in front of Natalie. You bested Natalie by 10. And you tied with Lisa. So,
Who had Purdue winning?
Dustin Miller
Oh, yeah,
had Purdue
yeah.
winning. So, who do we get? Look at that Corinne way down there, 55. You love to see it. Love to see it. Yeah. So thanks to everyone for playing. It was a lot of fun, and we'll see. We'll see if Cheryl wants to come on the show and talk some football or something else too altogether. All right. So Austin, last thing, 15 minutes. What NFL Bengals topic do you want to tackle?
Bengals landing Dexter Lawrence and not getting a first-round pick.
Dexter Lawrence landing, or the Bengals landing Dexter Lawrence and now not having a first-round pick. So are you
don't-
happy about the trade?
We have a stronger defense now. Not by much, but now we have, rather than a first-round college pick who would probably not have as much experience and definitely not as much experience, but maybe not the skills of an NFL defensive lineman or the positions that the Bengals need to land in the draft.
Are you happy with the
Yeah,
outcome? Okay.
Pretty happy.
Do you think Dexter Lawrence is worth a top 10 pick?
I mean, he's the best player on the Giants. So
It's
yeah,
It's
he's up there. He's well known. You got a well known defensive tackle now.
He is. He had a better year in 2024 than he
Yeah.
did in 2025. He is a ghastly 28 years old. How did we ever get by with these sports stars that are so
I got
old?
super mad today. I saw a post that said Dexter Lawrence is going from losing in blue to losing in orange.
So honestly, the Bengals needed more premier players, especially defensively. They got old or jettisoned some players maybe that they shouldn't have. Trey Hendrickson has been an issue over the years with them. His relationship with the team has soured, and obviously he's no longer there, and they fought about money for many years. Logan Wilson all of a sudden apparently couldn't play football anymore and is now retired. He was traded and now is retired. They got rid of their defensive backs, specifically their safeties that had done really well a few years back when the Bengals were challenging the Chiefs for the AFC crown. But obviously the biggest thing impacting the Bengals is Joe Burrow's health. If Joe Burrow is healthy,
He's
that
gotten
team
hurt in every single season he's played,
Well,
except 2022, the year that they made the Super Bowl.
right.
He's gotten hurt every
Right. Well,
single
because his
season.
rookie year he tore his ACL and was out. Right. He only played in like a handful of games.
Then he was healthy the next year. Then he hurt his ankle, I believe. Then it was his wrist.
Yep.
And then this year, he got turf toe.
So it's just been a lot of malice from Joe Burrow. But if he's healthy, and it's a big if, the Bengals are an interesting team because they have the offensive weapons, but the defense just fell off a cliff. They had been Lou Anarumo, who is no longer with the team, was sent packing, I think, after, was it 23 or 24? I forget. But he had the team playing really, really well. The defensive aspect playing really well. And then they just couldn't do anything. I think losing Jesse Bates was a big issue for them. But now they're adding Dexter Lawrence, who is a premier inside guy. You get some pass rush from the defensive tackle position that you're not accustomed to getting, although he didn't have a great year in that regard. He only was credited with half a sack in 2025, though he had, I think, 9.5 in 2024. So, and Trey Hendrickson didn't play a bunch last year. He's first team All-Pro in 2024. Finally played with the Bengals or signed with the Bengals last year, but then really didn't play all that much. So I don't know that his loss is going to be that big of an impact after the year he had last year. Giving up a top 10 pick is a very, very high price, but to me, it sounds like this is Bengals joining a list of teams that are saying the 2026 draft is weak. Mm-hmm. So I think what they were going to get in the top 10, I don't think they were super thrilled about it, so they pulled the trigger here.
I would agree. Because it's not just a first round pick; it's a top 10 pick, which is a lot. However, it is one of those things where you just, and I've seen this take on it a lot. Man, this is the Bengals doing something the Bengals never do, which is like take a home run swing. So you know
and
what?
Probably not getting over the left field fence.
But you never. Hey, but you know what? What the Bengals have done for almost the entirety of the Bengals would be they let Hendrickson go, and then they don't do anything, and they draft somebody who doesn't work out. Like that. That's the
Exactly.
Bengals' MO.
Yeah.
Would have been to draft somebody who doesn't work out, or like take an offensive weapon, or something like that. Something they don't need, not a lineman. They would have picked someone else. They take like a running back. Like the second running back or something at 10. Like that would have been a very Bengals move. So it is one of those things where it is like I think it's a swing for them. Burrow's health is essential, and if they can't keep him upright, it's not going to matter. So again, I worry that they're not going to be able to protect him. Just like, and I know Austin doesn't necessarily like it when I say this, but. And again, he is great, arguably the best in the league. You can argue that Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the league. They should have drafted a lineman. And I think the people who made that argument at first were proven, you're wrong because
Right.
Jamar Chase is like one of the best. I agree, but like if Joe Burrows can't stay healthy because you can't protect him, then it doesn't matter who the wide receivers are. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think in the short term, Jamar Chase appeared to be the best pick. And that's not a knock on Jamar Chase. It's a knock on they haven't been able to get that position right through the other means. And so it's interesting that they go with the defensive piece, which they needed, because they also could have used help along the offensive line.
Right,
So,
and I think that's where a lot of people were aghast that they would do that because they felt like they needed that to help protect Joe Burrow so that he stays healthy and can finish the season. So, Austin, where do you think right now the Bengals rank in the NFL? Do you think they're a playoff caliber team in 2026? What's your take?
I think they have it this year. Now I say that every year just because I'm a fan, but
that's what we do.
yeah, I think they have it this year. Maybe they finish second in the AFC North.
Okay.
Maybe get the last spot in the playoffs and make
All
it
right, 7
until
seed.
the
Okay. You make the
League
playoffs, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. And if the Bengals are making the playoffs, even if it's second out of the North, 7th seed overall, I would think that means Burrow stayed healthy.
Yeah. Or it was like a week or two where you miss one or two max games.
Yeah.
The thing is, you look at the division.
A lot of question marks.
The Ravens should be good, right? But a huge question mark because you're resetting on coach after getting rid of the coach with the longest tenure in the NFL.
Right, well, an incredibly successful coach that apparently he just made him practice too hard, Justin.
Yes,
They
yeah.
just if you
It
just
was-
could
it was
not
too
have to
hard.
practice
It
to
was too
play this
hard.
game,
Yeah.
it would be great.
I saw that. And so you have that, and then you've got the Browns, who are the Browns. So
Yeah.
like, who knows?
We're the
what's gonna
Cleveland
happen.
Browns.
Right? And then you've got the Steelers, who are tying themselves to Aaron Rodgers, maybe
Right.
because now I've started to see, and you start to see this. If they draft a quarterback, does Rodgers say, "Yeah, no, never mind"?
Yeah, I don't want to do this mentoring thing.
Which honestly is fine because like if you're him, you're looking for them to draft somebody that's going to help the team get over the top.
Yeah.
Like I understand. Like at this point in his career, I understand that. Like, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. Look, I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I think I actually had them, if not this past year, the year before, I had them coming back and making the Super Bowl. One year, I think I had it Cowboys Bengals because I remember saying how mad you were going to be about all this stuff. Me having the Cowboys make the Super Bowl, and
I would have been rooting so hard for the Bengals.
so
I always joke about having a Bengals Eagles Super Bowl and me having to sleep outside.
I think the only thing worse than a Bengals Eagles Super Bowl would be an Eagles Steelers Super Bowl.
Yes.
Where's the Eagles Ravens Super Bowl rank on that? You and these AFC North teams, you just can't get away from them.
I know. It would not be good.
It would not be good.
Next thing you know, it's going to be Browns Raiders. Well, that's not possible.
Browns Raiders would be, man, you'd have to go back to what, like the maybe the early 80s?
You go back early 80s, that would be good.
Yeah. And the AFC Championship game.
Right.
Some
Like going back to college football this year, you had Penn State and Clemson in the last bowl game of the year. People thought that was going to be a national semifinal, and everything turned out to be the teams being 7-6 and the Penn State Bowl.
Hey,
So.
still won it.
Yeah.
Still
That's
won
right.
the bowl game.
That's right.
So, is there anything else you wanted to add about the Bengals or the NFL draft?
No.
Was there any other topic you wanted to cover before we get out of here?
No, we just let it go, talk about whatever we want.
All right, so
see what we want to do.
well, you mentioned Penn State. Penn State's been, a bit of a transitional year. We got new coaching staff, a bunch of new players on the roster. Their spring practices are wrapping up. Less than a week from now will be the blue-white game, which will not be a game, but just a practice in front of people. Stadium's undergoing renovation still. That won't be ready for another year. But so far, everything written about this new era of Penn State football has been overwhelmingly positive, I would say. I know it got off to a rocky start in October and November and early December with the search, but that wasn't really Campbell and crew's fault. That fell elsewhere. But since he and his staff have gotten there, I feel like everything from the current players, the new players, the alumni, the administration, and football lettermen have been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
And now recruiting is taking off.
Yeah, I saw they got a few, or at least one.
They
or
got
two
a bunch,
today.
yeah.
Like a couple of the Pittsburgh Central Catholic from that vaunted line that they had last year
Yeah.
have made their commitments.
Yeah.
A
A lot of them are three-star.
Yes, but also a lot of those guys, not just Penn State guys, but a lot of those guys gain a star in the summer
Magically,
of their,
right,
like
yeah.
going into their senior year.
Right. So I
But
think,
like, hey, if they're guys that they think they can go with, and hey,
right.
opening up that Whitfield portal again,
Which
that
that's
huge.
where Terry
Yep.
Smith makes his home, right?
Yes.
Former Gateway guy. So I've seen I think right now in the class of 2027 they're all the way up to like 5th or 6th overall. Now I know those stars will be reevaluated and things will change for all the teams, not just Penn State. And as the more and more the bigger time recruits commit, those rankings will change. However, for the first full class, because he obviously had a class of 2026, but that was all kinds of wacky because of
Right.
what happened. For his first full class, Campbell and company is doing a very good job so far. So hopefully they can land a few big names. It has been very interesting to me, Justin, reading what a lot of the beat members, especially like
Yes.
our
Especially-
pal Audrey, who,
Right, the ones who we value their takes more than many others. Some of the things they say / don't say
yes,
sends an interesting message.
they are not attacking.
No, not at all.
However, they're not sugarcoating or hiding
No.
their true feelings about this change of leadership.
Right. And I think it was Audrey that said it, like in one of her articles about, there were just a few statements in the same article that I'm like, oh my.
Yeah, well, I remember. I think
And-
I texted you. It was
right.
like, "Did you read the most
Right.
recent Audrey
because
article?"
things like and this isn't a quote, this is a paraphrase, but it's the same idea. The further we go into this, the further like I realize it was time for a change of scenery for everyone involved, and they're like,
Right.
oh, okay. And then along with that, it might have been the same article. No one is going around spring practice waiting to just get screamed at by the head coach, and you're just like, okay,
yeah,
like, and you're just like, huh. And again,
Interesting,
it's
right?
not. It was not an attack piece at all. Like it's not. It's just it had gotten to a spot that was not working, and it does seem like it was best for all parties involved for it to be a change of scenery.
Yep.
And
And we could elaborate on that, talk a lot more about it, but we're running out of time, so we are going to wrap things up here. Any final thoughts, Austin, on sports landscape or turning 12 years old?
No.
You've said your piece.
Yeah.
And now did you get all of your celebration done today?
Yeah.
Did you feel good about how everything went down? This was a good day overall? Mm-hmm. You only turned 12 once, right?
Apparently.
we'll see. Maybe again next year.
No, we'll celebrate 12 again next year. That's fine. So, well, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
thanks for
stopping
having me
by
on.
your big day. And anything else?
Next time you turn 12, we'll have you on.
Yeah. It's a standing offer. Anytime you turn 12 years old, you can come on the show.
He's not amused.
What would you do without us joking with you all the time?
Exactly.
You'd have a lot more free time on your hand, huh? Yeah.
Especially you.
All right. Well, Justin, you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, happy birthday, Austin. But yeah, well,
Heard that a lot today.
keep it going. Well, good.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so. Yeah. All right. So that will wrap up our show here with Austin celebrating his 12th birthday. We appreciate him joining us for the milestone and appreciate everyone tuning in. Your mom / grandma has accepted our offer to be on the show. We will coordinate with her, and I will also be trying to track down a show T-shirt for her as well. So congratulations once again to Cheryl for winning the tournament challenge with the March Madness bracket this year. I think that wraps up everything from me here. Had a great weekend, day yesterday with Natalie at Girl Scout camp. Ready to rock and roll. Oh, I did want to mention next Saturday I'll be back at Don Thomas Stadium at Exeter for the Reading Raptors' second home game of the season. It's a big one against the Wilmington Wolfpack, one of the best team, I think the last undefeated team in the NEAFL. And I bring it up here on this show because I know a few people watching or listening have young fans at home that are in Wilson Youth Sports. And next Saturday is Wilson Youth Night at the Reading Raptors, where not only do the students get in for free, but their parents get in for free as well. All the student has to do is wear any Wilson Youth Sport jersey that they have from their team. It does not have to be football. It can be anything: lacrosse, baseball, softball. I mean, you could wear your wrestling singlet. I don't know. You might want to check the weather before you do that, but
it may or may not work.
So yeah, if anyone out there wants to see some minor league football action, next Saturday at Exeter, 6:00 kickoff, and Wilson Youth are admitted for free. And Wilson football has 3 players on the team. And Nori Falby, Chris Roberson, and Avante Lockhart, who I got to see last week.
Again, things that make me feel old.
Right, yeah. I feel like we were just celebrating him being a senior on that team. That was back in the fall of 2019, believe it or not. He's now had a great college football career come to an end, and now is in the working world, but still pursuing football as a passion of his, which is awesome. I love to see that, and I got to stop and chat with Avante after their game 2 Saturdays ago now. But so yeah, come out next Saturday. That is April 25th in Exeter for the next Reading Raptors home football game. That is it for us here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And Justin and I will be back next Sunday, April 26th, to recap the NFL draft.
Yeah, thanks for everyone watching. Shout out to Noah Valino. I know you're watching. Wanted to give you a shout out.
There you go.
There you go.
So, yes, one last time, happy birthday to Austin. And Justin and I will be back in 1 week. So for Austin, for Justin, and myself, thanks for listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. See you again real soon.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.